Hello BookTube. Today I'm going to be doing the university tag. This tag was created by Joe Spivey. He is a new booktuber, and this is his first original tag. Prompt number 1. Etymologically, the word university is derived from the Latin universitas, magistrorum, et scholarium, meaning a community of teachers and scholars. What was the last book you read written by two or more writers in coordination? So for this tag, I'm going to go with a Death Note by Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. So Death Note is a manga series that lasted for 12 volumes, and it was published during the early 2000s. It is the story of Light Yagami, a brilliant high school student in Japan who comes across a death note, a notebook dropped by the Shinigami Ryuk. After experimenting with the death note, Light embarks on a killing spree the likes of which the world has never seen before. Light becomes the serial killer Kira. Leading the pursuit for Kira is the detective L. And so much of the series is a cat and mouse game between Light and L, trying to catch or kill the other. And later, Light's conflict with L's successors, Mello and Near. And so I picked this series because it's a collaboration between Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata. And they've done a number of collaborations since Death Note. I think so far 2 other collaborations. So yeah. Prompt number 2. In 1088, the University of Bologna saw the advent of the university as we recognize it today. What is your favorite, most recently read novel set in Italy? Well, I don't really have a favorite, and I cannot recall the last time I've read a novel set in Italy. So I have 2 answers for this prompt. Starting with nonfiction, I'm going to go with most recent, Young Queens by Leah Redmond Chang. This is a group biography of 3 French queens. Catherine de' Medici, her daughter Isabella, who eventually moved to become Queen of Spain, as the third of Philip II's queens, and Mary, Queen of Scots. And I picked this book because Catherine de' Medici was born in Florence and lived the first years of her life in Florence. And it's an amazing book. Put you over here. But if Young Queens doesn't quite count, since very little of the book is actually set in Italy, I'm going to go with a collection of poetry. Within the Sweet Noise of Life by Sandro Penna, translated by Alexander Booth. So this is a slim collection of the poetry of Sandro Penna, who was a fairly major Italian poet in the mid-20th century, and I really enjoyed this collection. It was fantastic. Prompt number 3. University study usually involves a significant change of residence or lifestyle. What is your favorite book series focusing on an immediate change of residence? So for this prompt, I immediately went with Eden Zero by Hiro Mashima. So Eden Zero is a manga series. It is one of Hiro Mashima's current series. And it's about a young man named Shiki who was raised on the planet Grambel, which is a tourist planet populated by androids in a medieval-themed planetary amusement park. One day, a young woman named Rebecca and her companion Happy come to the planet to film some videos for her B-Cube channel. The robots seem to malfunction and try to kill Rebecca and Happy. Shiki intervenes, and the three escape the planet and subsequently go on adventures to find the galactic goddess figure, Mother. And except for one brief storyline, Shiki never returns to Granbell. So I think this series certainly meets the prompt. And Eden Zero is fantastic. It is one of my favorite series currently. Prompt number 4. The 21st century university student is expected to fork out tens of thousands in order to breach a university's sun-gilt facilities. Name a book that cost you an exorbitant amount in exchange for little reward. So I'm going to go with a nonfiction for this, which, generally speaking, probably most people would have nonfiction for answers, because nonfiction tends to be more expensive than fiction, and particularly if they are new releases and also published by university presses. So I'm going to go with The Scythian Empire by Christopher I. Beckwith. This is a look at the Scythians. I had hoped this would have been a history of the Scythians. Instead, it's a weird argument that the Scythian people had a larger influence on sort of the area of Central Asia that would become the Persian Empire, as well as the Chinese Empire. And Beckwith centers this argument on certain loan words that seem to have originated in Scythian, but were later incorporated into Persian and Chinese, or Mandarin. And he harps on this incessantly to the point where you could make a drinking game out of it and get rip-roaring drunk, which might possibly be the only saving grace of this book if you actually drink, which I don't. So there was no saving grace for this book. It just was a complete waste of money. Even if I did get a discount, it was still a complete waste of money. Prompt number 5. Universities and their attached student unions boast innumerable societies that gather zealots of everything from badminton to beer trimming to bardolatry. Name your favorite book that crafts or envisions a new or alternate society. So this isn't a favorite. I, in fact, actually rather despise this story. But I'm going to go with House of M. So House of M was a storyline in the early 2000s, and it's sort of a sequel to Avengers Disassembled, in which the Scarlet Witch goes insane, as powerful female characters tend to do in American superhero comic books. And she decimates the Avengers. And at the end of the storyline, she is rendered comatose and is taken by her father, Magneto. This storyline sees the Scarlet Witch recreate reality in which the mutants of the Marvel Universe are the dominant people, with Magneto as effectively king of the world. And it makes no sense. Well, I mean, the fact that the Scarlet Witch could do this, that at this point she is incredibly powerful, works. But how it's undone is really bad. Just really, really bad, and relies on convenience that just doesn't work. Prompt number 6. What is your favorite novel set within the walls of a university campus? So again, I don't really have a favorite, and I really haven't read all that many university campus novels. But I'm going to go with If You Cooperate. Oh, okay. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. This is a novel about a young man who goes to an elite liberal arts college and gets involved in the Greek program. And the Greek the students who are basically the only Greek majors in the school, and they form a little sort of elite clique of the wealthy and the beautiful and the decadent, and it goes from there. I've never really gotten on with this book, no matter how many times I've tried it. Prompt number 7. Universities are touted as bastions of free thought and uninhibited expression. Name a book you've read that is produced by someone with whom you fundamentally disagree on the subject, but you like because of the eloquence with which it is written. So, this was a tough one to answer. And I picked Magic by Chris Gostin. So this is a history of magic throughout history. And I think the writing makes this book palatable. There are certain parts of the book, particularly the ancient history or prehistory, that are fairly fascinating. But for the most part, this book heavily relies on a lot of woo-woo. And was not quite what I wanted. And I'm not entirely sure his arguments actually pan out. Although my interest in magic is more for the fact that I'm more interested in writing science fiction and fantasy, mostly fantasy, than actual historical study of magic. Prompt number 8. Universities pride themselves on cherishing outpourings from previously silenced or oppressed minorities. Name a favorite book written by someone from an underrepresented group. So this time, this is a favorite. Tanto Tanto by Marina Carrera. This is a collection of poetry, and it is fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Prompt number 9. University study can be riddled with dense, impenetrable scholarly tomes. What is your favorite piece of interpretive nonfiction written by an academic? So this one I have no show and tell books to show or even to pull up on my tablet because this book does not have its own little Wikipedia page or anything. It's The Idea of the Humanities by R.S. Crane. I was an English lit major, and the anthology of literary criticism that I had for my lit theory class included a piece by R.S. Crane. And once I'd finished off my university life, I did interlibrary loan The Idea of the Humanities and read it. And at the time, I rather liked it, although having gone back to Anatomy of Criticism by Northrop Frye, years after having read it the first time and not particularly getting on with it, I doubt very seriously if it would remain a favorite of mine today. And that wraps up the university tag. If you would like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. I will be back tomorrow with a weekly reads, which will probably be an early one. This reading week, except for finishing off the 7 Deadly Sins, has been rather atrocious for any number of reasons. So, so I'm probably going to start next week's reading tomorrow. I just don't know what it's going to be. It's not going to be finishing off Demon Slayer because I don't have the last 4 volumes. Hopefully they'll come in either this weekend or early next week. And I'm planning on doing them during the work week instead of the weekend. So, in a BookTube, until I see you tomorrow, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.